Welcome to today's experiential webinar delivered by Namaste Wellness, titled Guided Meditation, Breathing, and Self-Care Tips. I am so thrilled that you've made the very wise decision to join us today for this experience. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Julie Wald. I am the founder, CEO, and Chief Wellness Officer at Namaste Wellness. I began my career as a clinical social worker. I'm also a yoga and a meditation teacher for 25 years and have been working for the last 20 years in designing extraordinary corporate wellness programs for all different kinds of organizations to support mental and physical health and well-being. Most recently, I wrote a book that was published in March, just as the pandemic was beginning, titled Inner Wealth: How Wellness Heals, Nurtures, and Optimizes Ultra Successful People. And this book is really based on my experiences in coaching and working with leaders and captains of industry and optimizing their own health and well-being, as well as that of their teams and organizations. We've delivered programs at all different kinds of companies, from tech startups to healthcare, to financial industry, to not-for-profits, to the elder space. And I'm really excited to give you a little bit of a taste of what some of our experiences look and feel like. With all that said, let's dive in. So, once again, I'm so happy that you made the decision to join us today. Thank you for coming. The reason we decided to hold this experience for leaders and HR professionals is because we know that you are all holding a lot right now. You have a lot on your plate, between the well-being of your teams, to the well-being of your organizations, to the well-being of your family, perhaps members of your community or friends, and certainly, last but not least, your own well-being. And these have been very, very intense and challenging times to hold a lot. So we wanted to take a moment just before the holidays to hold you and to support you. So I invite you to just get comfortable. When I say get comfortable, I want you to sit with intention. So you can sit up nice and tall, but make sure that you are not really in a situation that is causing any true pain or discomfort. And I also invite you to just take a sip of water or a sip of tea and begin to settle into your body. Part of what this experience is about is actually trying to drop down into a more physical sensory experience in our body. We are going to do two different practices today, and I'm going to kind of blend them into one another. So we're going to ease right from a breathing practice into a mindfulness practice. And really, the way I like to think about these practices is that they are extraordinary tools in helping us downregulate our nervous system. So, for example, the breathing practice that we are going to be doing today really calls for an elongation and extension of our exhalation. And the reason I chose this breathing practice is because when we accentuate and elongate the exhalation, it activates our parasympathetic nervous system. And when our parasympathetic nervous system is activated, it takes us out of fight or flight and into a rest and restore state. Now, many of us have been living in a chronic fight or flight state for the last 9 months, and I'm sure we're observing it amongst your teams or your family members. It causes burnout and exhaustion over time. And breathing practices are an amazing tool to help support and avoid that type of burnout. We are going to then bleed into a mindfulness practice. And really, I wanted to take a moment to describe the intention of our mindfulness practice, because my guess is that at least some of you have experienced mindfulness meditation before. And one of the things that I think is so incredibly important is that you understand the intentions and really are clear about the goal. And the goal of a mindfulness practice is not to eliminate all of your thoughts. Your thoughts are valuable, your thoughts are powerful, and your thoughts have likely served you well. So it's not about not thinking, but what it is about is really our relationship to our thoughts. And so a mindfulness practice is about learning to be curious about our thoughts, to observe our thoughts, to be interested in our thoughts, but not react to our thoughts, not overly identify with our thoughts, which gets us into a mode of judgment, of good or bad or shame. Instead, when we can remain curious, we're able to turn that into a superpower, which really allows us to be more responsive to the world around us as opposed to reactive to the world around us. And that impacts both the world around us, the people that we're interacting with, as well as our own experience. And ultimately, the idea is that when we start to relate to our minds in this way, we are creating a more spacious and a more compassionate environment in our minds. And that is what enables us to move out of that stress response, move out of that fight or flight response, and really ease into more of that rest and restore, more balanced, neutralized place in our nervous system. So, with all that said, I'm excited to get started. Just take your seat and you can bring your palms to your lap. Your palms can be face down on your lap or face up, whatever feels most natural to you. When we place our palms face down, it can be more centering and more grounding. When we place our palms face up, it's more open, it's more receptive, it's perhaps more connected. There's no right or wrong way. Do what feels best for your body. And I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. And as you settle in, I just want you to take a moment to tune into the sensations as you inhale and exhale. Noticing the subtle rise and fall of your chest and your belly. Perhaps noticing the coolness of the air as you breathe in and the warmth of the air as you breathe out. And we are going to slowly begin to connect the breath with a count. So we are going to count 4 on the inhalation, and we are going to count to 6 on the exhalation. When you're ready, as we breathe in, 2, 3, 4, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once again, inhaling, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing through your nose on your own time, breathing in and breathing out, extending the exhalation, getting every last bit of air out of your body. And breathing in. And breathing out. as you extend the exhalation, releasing anything that you don't need. Repeating this just a few more times on your own. The inhalations are nourishing and nurturing, and the exhalations are an opportunity to release and let go of anything that you don't need to be holding on to right now. Squeezing every last bit of air out on those exhalations, and then naturally watching as the inhalation starts to rise in the body. And when you're ready, we are going to begin to transition to a more natural, easy resting breath. So you can let go of the count and begin to breathe at a normal resting rate that feels natural and authentic and true for you. We are easing into our mindfulness practice, beginning to notice the mind. And as the mind wanders off to thoughts, as it inevitably will and as it should, gently label those thoughts thinking, just noticing them, observing them. And when you label them thinking, return to the sensation of your breath. Feeling the breath move in through your nose and down into your body, into your belly. And notice as you breathe out, the release, the surrender, the letting go. And every time your mind wanders, sweetly, gently, lovingly, label it thinking and return to the exhalation. As you land in the moment, you might take a moment to tune into the sounds in your space, the sounds that are both near, in your home, in your office, wherever you are. Perhaps there's white noise. Perhaps there's the voices of children off in another room or a partner working. Just taking a moment to notice those sounds without grabbing onto them or being attached to them. Those sounds, just like the thoughts, are like clouds just moving through your space. They're not permanent. And then begin to notice any sounds from outside. Perhaps the sound of cars or voices or birds or nature. Noticing the temperature of the air as it touches your skin. Noticing any sensations in your body, perhaps areas where you feel warm or areas where you feel cool. Perhaps you feel the remnants of your morning caffeine or a hungering for some lunchtime nourishment. Whatever it is, just notice it. Just be curious, interested, but not identified. Doesn't need to be good or bad, right or wrong. There are no shoulds here. We're really just making space for what is. Feeling the subtle rise and fall of your chest and your belly as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Noticing your thoughts as they arise, labeling them, thinking, and returning to your sensory experience. If there are areas in your body that you are gripping or holding, through this practice of observing, you might notice small patterns that would love to be released, whether it's softening your jaw, releasing your shoulders away from your ears, smoothing the forehead and the brow. Remembering that your thoughts, just like those sounds, are like clouds passing through. You can notice the shape or the quality, but don't attach. We are going to slowly deepen the breath with more intention. Inhaling fully. And you can exhale out through your mouth, perhaps even fluttering your lips. We're going to take 4 more breaths just like that. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. One more, breathing in. And breathing out. If your eyes are closed, you can softly let them open and come back. So I really want to leave you with a couple of nuggets, a couple of tips that I think hopefully will be very valuable for you and perhaps the people in your life. And my number one tip is this: small things make a huge difference. In fact, if you think about an airplane flying across the country, if they're flying from California to New York, let's say, and they just shift their degree just a teeny tiny bit, over time, if they continue on that trajectory, that airplane will end up in Washington, D.C., not in New York City. So the idea is that actually just a small shift over time can land you in a very, very different place on so many levels, from a health perspective, from a mental health perspective, from a performance perspective, and of course, from an overall happiness and well-being perspective. So remembering that even a small practice like this, even 1 minute, taking time, for example, 3 deep breaths and 30 seconds of mindfulness, that alone has the potential to shift your day. Ultimately, when done repeatedly, even just for 1 minute, it can make a very dramatic impact on your life, perhaps landing you in a completely different location than you were headed. So start small. Whatever it is that you're doing, as long as it's small enough, you should be able to do it every single day. Actually, remove the word should. You can create an intention to do it every single day. If you miss a day, just do it again the next day. Try not to miss 2 days, because research tells us that it takes about 66 days to form a habit. And ideally, these are the types of habits that will change our lives and change our work and change everything. So trying to create some automaticity by doing it repeatedly, trying to create the opportunity to do it repeatedly by keeping it small, and being really, really intentional about why.
I hope you enjoyed this guided breathing and meditation session. If you'd like to learn more about Namaste Wellness and how we can help you and your team become more resilient professionals, parents, and people through wellness education, experiences, and coaching, I invite you to visit our website, namastewellness.com, or call us at 917-821-6882. Thank you so much, and namaste.